In a country where the number of cars is rising and parking spaces are in short supply, the idea of a row breaking out about parking is not so very rare. But what if such a row ends in murder, even if the entire neighbourhood was united in trying to get the antisocial resident responsible removed? It's a question prompted by neighbours who did everything they could to stop antisocial behaviour becoming something worse. Many of them installed CCTV cameras outside their homes. This in a village outside Tewkesbury in Gloucestershire. In October, those cameras recorded footage which this week helped secure a murder conviction against Turkish national Kars Aslan, whose antisocial behaviour had been repeatedly reported to police. The footage you're about to show, and I apologise if you find it distressing, shows neighbours using, amongst other things, golf clubs. This is an off-duty police officer with a plank of wood seeking to ward off Arslan, who had just fatally stabbed one resident 27 times, stabbing him in the face, the head and the body, before attacking two others. The family of the dead man, married father Matthew Borman, say not enough was done to evict Arslan from his rented property. At the time of the murder, Arslan was under an injunction banning him from threatening his neighbours, some of whom he'd threatened to kill or rape. Arslan made counter-allegations accusing neighbours of racially abusing him. Well, the bad blood with neighbours had started with a row about parked cars. The case has been referred to the police watchdog. Arslan will be sentenced in June. Well, whatever the sentence, the case raises questions, I think, about how to stop antisocial behaviour spiralling out of control. Joining me now, the homeless charity campaigner Nick Buckley, who has strong views on how to police antisocial behaviour. I suspect, Nick, because you will feel, as many of our viewers and listeners will do, that antisocial behaviour, when it's really bad and life-changing for people, it's happening in places that the commentariat rarely see, on rough council estates and poor housing where there are vulnerable, chaotic families and things are spiralling in an antisocial direction.
Yeah, and they're the sort of estates I've been working in the last 2 decades. So I've seen this close up. I've seen so many arguments and so many disputes over parking, because all our estates were really built for no cars or for 1 car per household. And now cars have 3-4 cars per household. So this sort of thing happens all the time. But this really is an exceptional case. You know, they don't normally lead to somebody with obvious mental health issues here going out and stabbing their neighbours. I've not heard of this before over car parking.
No, I mean, but what's apparent if following this case is that sense of powerlessness that people felt there. The family appearing outside the court and saying the police ignored this for too long. They'd been phoned the day before and were told that this man was making death threats. But here was actually quite a tightly knit community. They were working together. They sought this man's eviction. I just wonder, you know, you see people trying to remove the bad apples, people who've got antisocial behaviour problems. I mentioned in my introduction there was an injunction. There are some legal remedies, but when it comes to it, actually, if somebody's determined to be antisocial, sometimes people sadly have to lump it.
They don't have to lump it, but they have to be ready for a long-term fight and battle with the police and with the council. People class this sort of thing as low-level, and they call it low-level antisocial behaviour. They're arguing over car park spaces. They're arguing over the kids screaming and shouting or playing football in the street. So the police tend not to take it too seriously because they think they have better things to do. The council usually think the same sort of things. And what you get told is report it. Report every incident and we'll build up a picture. But then after the 5th, 6th, 7th time of you reporting antisocial behaviour and nothing has still been done and no one's phoned you back, no one's seen you, you say to yourself, they're not going to do anything, so you give up. And what many councils do, especially since the cuts to services, is lots of these services now have been slightly designed to stop people reporting stuff. They make it hard for you, so you stop reporting because they haven't got the money to spend to solve all the problems. And what I tell people all the time, if you're not happy with a service, with the council or the police, what you should do after 1 or 2 phone calls is you report it to your local councillor. And if they don't do anything about it, after another couple of reports, you then contact your MP and you start making a fuss, because believe me, the council of police will act when they start getting complaints from their local MP, and they will pull their finger out and hopefully they will do something about it. But if you're quiet and you're sensible and you stop reporting, jobs are good and they just ignore you.
Yeah, the squeaky wheel gets the oil, they say in America, don't they? And I think it's broadly
Yep.
true. Nick Buckley, as ever, thanks very much, Steve, for your time. Thanks a lot.